I love Miles Davis, so Behe's ult is just wonderful. Anyway, we see Arrow lead from Behe, which is unusual, and it scares out a Zapdos lead. Behe doubles to his own Zapdos and checks out McMeghan's Rock Resist, which is Swampert, goes for a Toxic, finds a Blissey, and McMeghan's own Zapdos comes back in on the Protect, as he also thought, Skarmory might come in to try and take advantage of my Blissey and get some spikes. Now we're all caught up as Behe's Zapdos Toxics McMeghan's, and it's faster, yet it takes very little from that Thunderbolt, which makes me think that they are both specially defensive. And you might think, oh, Protect Zapdos, Toxic Protect on specially defensive? Yeah, Toxic Protect Rest, because especially defensive Zapdos' moveset is generally so flexible that you can slot Protect in there, why not? You know, you're going to check, yep, there's the rest. You're going to be able to scout Choice Banners this way, rack up Toxic damage. It's a great move. So, since the Arrow lead generally, Arrow generally suggests spikes in general, since I think the era of players that were using, CB Tar, CB Arrow offense without spikes is long behind us. And Sand is active now, as McMeghan reveals he's not just a Rest Zapdos, but a Sleep Talk Zapdos. So that's interesting. So we could be seeing two Skarmories here. But yeah, Arrow suggests spikes in general, but Arrow lead, definitely. Because even when spikeless Arrow offense teams were at their peak, they were never leading Arrow. So I think the Arrow here is leading generally because that's a nasty, nasty Focus Punch crit. But I think it's leading because whenever you see lead Arrow, it makes you think, that might have HP fighting. It might Oko my Tar lead, and that prevents Tar from putting you on the back foot early on, so you can double in and get your Skarm, get your pressure with spikes early on. So, there is... Yeah, that's rough, because Behe has a very safe switch to Skarmory here, and no matter what McMeghan does, he's not really going to be able to alleviate the... Okay, he protects, as Behe just goes for the kill with EQ. I don't think he's going to go for it again. Although, I kind of like that he's going directly for the... I don't like that he now switches the Skarmory into a Torrent Surf. That felt like a miss. I think you got to commit at that point. You either go right to Skarm and say, if that Swampert protects, I'm punishing it with free spikes. Or you just stay in and say, I will weather the Torrent Surf because it means I will KO the Swampert, and that means my Aerodactyl's going to go crazy. But I did not like this halfway point. So, yeah, I think... the Swampert is out of Torrent range now, so the next Surf isn't going to sting as much, but that still felt, wasteful, because you got the worst of both worlds there. You want to be the opposite of that. You want to be Hannah Montana. So, Spike here is very, very clear. I'm just wondering, what is McMeghan's answer to Skarmory? Because, McMeghan's team could be a bunch of stuff. Whenever I see Sleep Talk Zapdos, it just makes me think spikes. There are plenty of balanced teams with non-Sleep Talk Res Zapdos, but balanced teams without spikes. But balanced teams without spikes and Res Sleep Talk Zapdos, I don't think so. So yeah, what is the best Skarmory punish? Skarmory itself. And now Behe's falling behind because he goes for Toxic, thinking the Swampert's going to try and surf it down some more since it got such a big hit on the first time. But no. Instead, the Skarms are going to stack their layers, and neither of them are going to go for the third spike. Behe tried to pressure there with... Yeah, okay, so now that Claydol Swampert is fairly... Is this going to refresh? Or I guess Heal Bell Blissey is also possible. But... In comes Doll again. Surely this is God, I hate Refresh Claydol. And he's... Oh, it's going to Drill Peck. So, it's Toxic and Drill Peck. Wow, so this Claydol is toast either way. Unless it's like... No, it's not going to be a Rest. I guess if it's Wish Blissey or something. It's bulky, but it is going to get worn down. And there's the Spike and a great Roar. Okay, well, it doesn't do anything. Because it roars as Zapdos and brings Claydol back in for lefties. But it's going to get Drill Pecked. So, yeah, now that a whole win with arrow plan would have been a lot more concrete. You know, if there's a sleep talk, there's a T-bolt. Whew. Does McMeghan Zapdos have enough bulk to withstand Rock Slide? Because if it does, I think there's a very real chance it stays in here. And Behe is not showing... I mean, I know he wanted the more aggressive option of pressuring with T-Tar and a Spike, as opposed to just going to his defensive electric answer. But, I don't know. Oh, there's Doug. And he goes right for the slide, and down goes T-Tar. This is a very typical McMeghan team. McMeghan goes back and forth between these, like, extremely bulky teams that are so passive and do no damage, and these, like, cracked out psycho teams with no defensive synergy at all and just nonstop offense. Or just... Actually, I guess even if they're not super offensive, they're still pretty cracked out in that they are utterly... they're lunacy. You know, you very rarely see a middle ground. It's either extreme bulk or extreme craziness. So Arrow comes in, threatens with the spike, and now he fires. McMeghan fires off another Torrent Surf in return, and Behe goes to his own Swampert to challenge it. And it's a good idea because Behe's own Swampert is worthless in this matchup, does nothing. So if he can kind of get McMeghan to stay in and trade blows, that's advantageous. Of course, McMeghan does not do that, and instead Blissey comes in. So Surf Protect, we don't know. Oh, is that going to be Roar as well? It is going to be Roar, and he's going to try and drag in the Swampert, but instead he just gives... Oh, I guess he doesn't give the Skarm the last layer. He's going to go to Blissey on the Surf, and... Yeah, I mean, the problem is still that... Yeah, there he is, dragging in Swampert. I mean, the thing is that it protects, though. So it's not like the spikes are actually going to stick. If you had funnily enough, if you had the usually terrible second layer, then this would be doing something. But I think he's just trying to drag in... I don't know what he's trying to drag in. Claydol is immune. Swampert is going to protect. Unless he's trying to... Okay, nice protect there. So he's getting a lot of health back on Swampert. You know, I overlooked that. And I feel shameful. I feel shame, rather, because roaring around just to get health back was a favorite tactic of mine. It's one of those things I mentioned in my underrated aspects of phasing moves video. Anyway, now with the Toxic, I mean, that Swampert might have Refresh in the last slot, but it's going to have to refresh there, which gives McMeghan a free Surf and allows him to get extra lefties because of... You know, that turn he spent surfing and not protecting, so he actually outdamaged spikes there. But if he gets a... Actually, he's... Wow, yeah, he's actually doing a pretty good job of putting the pressure on that Blissey with the roars. Nicely done. You know what he's doing? I really like this. This reminds me of DPP games where you'd have a Rocks Roar Swampert against a stall team, and the Pert itself would be kind of worthless, but you just roar around and Dragon Scarf T-Tar over and over. And that Swampert, and if it doesn't do anything, it's not supposed to. And if it does, then it's big. And here, he's just dragging Blissey in over and over, scaring it a lot, scaring the Swampert from staying in, of course. And if the Swampert here is like kind of worthless, like who cares if the Swampert doesn't do anything? And he might potentially extract some sort of big value from it by threatening Swampert if it gets tired of getting phased out and starts staying in. And Blissey, of course. I mean, now the Claydol gets in and gets spun on, but now he just doubles the... No, he doesn't double this. I was going to say, McMeghan would have gotten me there, because I was going to say double the Skarmory, and McMeghan... That's exactly why McMeghan goes for... goes to, rather, his Zapdos. And he burns the 2 sleep turns. And you'll say, wait, didn't he sleep talk? And yes, that is the... I mean, come on, that Skarmory was the most obvious thing ever, but is he going to stay in to take a T-Bolt? Does he not have an electric answer? Is the last Gengar or something? I mean, he stays and takes the T-Bolt, but now what? The Zapdos' last might be Roar or HP. I think Roar is a lot likelier. But yeah, the Skarm... No, it's not going to protect now. It doesn't have Protect. I mean, it'll still beat the Claydol. Actually, you know what? I would not be surprised if this was an EQ-less Claydol with Boom. Rapid Spin, Refresh, Psychic, Boom. Because I know McMeghan subscribes to the theory of if you have spikes and Dugtrio, then that kind of acts as your Claydol's Earthquake, if that makes sense. And so therefore you don't need it. And on this team, he's also got Swampert, so you really don't need the Earthquake for help like against DD Tar, for example. And the Calm Minders are checked with or the Calm Mind Jirachi, for example, or Metagross. Or Calm Mind Jirachi is checked by Blissey and Dugtrio. Metagross checked by Swampert as well, and Dugtrio, and the Skarmory and the Zapdos. So if there's ever a team that is not going to have EQ Claydol, this is it. Anyway, Behe's team seems weirdly uncomfortable with switching into Zapdos. Yeah. I mean, he definitely got a lot out of it. But yeah, for those wondering... Okay, it is Roar. For those wondering why... Oh, it's Sleep Talk, because the way advanced Sleep Talk works is that if you Sleep Talk and then don't burn any turns of sleep before you switch out, then you still have 2 turns. So, for example, what you just saw, I Sleep Talk, I pull a move, and then I switch out, I still have 2 turns of sleep left. So, Behe's own Zapdos is reluctant to stay in. I don't think it's going to be rest anymore. I think his team is too aggressive. I was expecting something slower paced. And so I don't think it's going to be rest anymore. I think it's going to be Toxic Protect. Maybe my mental calc was off and it was just a more aggressive Zapdos taking damage from Spadef Zapdos. And it is actually Gengar last. So, I mean, this kind of team piles on the offensive threat, of course, as there's the rest on the Ice Punch. Piles on the offensive threat, of course, but it is really terrified. And I don't think you can always generate enough offensive pressure to really ward off the electric threat. Okay, here's Blissey on the Ice Punch. Taunted, so it can't heal. Yep, this is the way. Gengar gets scary here. And there's a Mist Wisp. That's unpleasant because now the taunt wears off. Taunt only lasts the 1 turn in advance. Yeah, he doesn't need the Gengar to spin block, but he just wants to wear it down. So Zapdos is scary. So for Swampert to be scary, it's just going to go to Arrow on the next Ice Beam. And now threaten with that. Okay, I mean, Skarmory's a very safe switch here. So if I'm McMeghan... if I'm Behe, I'm going to Skarmory and spiking. And, yeah, that's definitely the move. Blissey's not staying in here. Skarmory's a safe pivot. You got to go to Skarm. You can't just... I mean, I guess you could throw off a Rock Slide here. But then you get into that ugly situation of, oh, is it going to Toxic me? Am I going to lose my arrow that way? Is it going to roar me around and make me uncomfortable that way? So, I mean, I know he's got a bunch of Spikes immunities, but I don't know. It feels more prudent to go to Skarm, get the health back, actually. Another good reason to do it. Get the health back and start spiking and start dragging in that Swampert and, make that Arrow endgame more feasible. So, and the Wisp Miss is definitely really unfortunate. I mean, he would be sitting really pretty right now, but, yeah. And I don't think McMeghan can't afford to do anything but Skarm. Because Behe just could throw off that Rock Slide or that Double Edge. Mostly Rock Slide, but... Yeah, and I mean, another reason why Behe's Swampert moves earlier on were big was because the Swampert, his own Swampert is not really that important at all, but McMeghan's Swampert and McMeghan's Blissey are both so important. So whatever he can do that would be a very advantageous trade, even if his Swampert went down. So yep, there's... Oh, he went to Swampert on Rock Slide. Okay, I mean... Cool, but now Skarmory can't... Now he's got to go to Zapdos and eat the Torrent Surf. Nothing else is going to switch in. Yeah, because Skarmory dies. God, that's such a waste. I don't know. Yeah, more reason to go to the Skarm, I guess, but... I mean, now he really relies on... I guess with the Claydol being weakened, then it's not the end of the world, but now he's really reliant on Gengar to spin block if push comes to shove. I mean, he can live a Psychic, it's fine, but... Yeah, I assume the last is Giga Drain here, or that move was just really, really bad. I mean, he needs grass moves, though. Okay, it is Giga Drain. But because I was going to say, there's no way the Gengar has no grass and the Zapdos has no grass. That team needs to be able to hit Swampert directly. You know, it is not one of those Pokemon that you, like a Suicune, that you can just sand and spikes your way through. No. It's... I was going to say, and HPX feels fairly, I don't know about gratuitous on the Zapdos. I guess if you're trying to break your way through Flygon for Arrow's sake, okay, yeah, that's fine. But yeah, Ice Giga Drain is not usually the combination you see on Gengar. But I can see it here because you really, really, really want that grass move. But, and you don't want it to be walled by Zapdos here. Because, again, cannot switch into it. So, I dig it. Anyway, so the Swampert is not staying in here. And so, what's the move for Behe? I think, you don't want to Wisp into Zapdos. You don't want to Ice into Blissey. I guess he Wisped into that because he would rather, yeah, I guess he would rather spam Ice Punch against the sleeping Zapdos rather than have to Wisp with Blissey afterwards. So I can see it, for sure. And great move on McMeghan's end, then. You know what? He can taunt and block Sleep Talk and also prevent the Blissey from healing. Problem is, he doesn't prevent Blissey from healing afterwards because he just, he'll have to go to Swampert. And Sleep Talk pulls Roar and drags in Zap. Okay. Zapdos T-bolting, not to account. What is this Zapdos set? It feels like it's like fast and bulky or something, but it's not too echoing Zap from that range, so it's definitely not too offensive. Unless my calcs are just super, super off. And there you see McMeghan not go for Sleep Talk. So if he switches out, then he does not still have 2 turns left. But he is going to wake up and get another rest and get the rest off. Okay. Well, he's going to be 3 KO'd from this range. What's going to happen is Claydol going to pivot in on the T-Bolt. Because Blissey switching in at this range is... I mean, it's so hard to go for a Toxic here. But it would be so, so good if he did. But McMeghan is not really forced out here. So he's going to Sleep Talk and pull a T-Bolt. And now he's... I mean, unless he's really confident that he is not going to be... And there's another non-Sleep Talk. If he's really this confident that he's not going to be KO'd... And now he gets Arrow in on the rest. Okay. That's cool. McMeghan really confident about that one. Or I guess he was just saying, hey, I would rather not risk my other Pokemon on the Switch. In comes Claydol and dodges a Rock Slide. That's... I mean, I know it can live it and everything, but that was still... Yeah, that plus the Wisp Miss was bad. I don't know, I also feel like he definitely has taken his foot off the gas on a number of... I mean, right from the beginning of the game with that whole T-Tar Pert debacle. And yeah, there's a... Oh, is he going to just give the spin? Okay, no, he doesn't. But now the Claydol's gaining health. I mean, nice pivot to not throw Gengar right into it. Tough move for both of them. And he gets it in on the spin. Nicely done. And now he's just going to spam ice. Oh, he's going to spam Giga Drain to be more out of range. Nice. Yeah, that's a bulky Gengar. Now, another Giga Drain won't KO, but Ice Punch definitely will. And what's more so is that now Arrow is really going to be tough to switch into. And Arrow and Zapdos both spin block the Claydol at such low health. Well, Zapdos maybe. I'm not 100% sure. Because I don't know what that spread is. Look at that timer down to 15. Is he going to go to Zap? I think he... No, he goes to Skarmory on the Giga Drain. Okay. Is he going to provoke a Will-O-Wisp for Zapdos to switch in on? Feels like it. Yeah. No, he's just going to... Okay, well, that's really big because, okay, the Gengar is not even... Wow, that Drill Peck did a strange amount of damage. I guess if he's fast as Zapdos, then... Or fast but F Gengar, then he doesn't have as much... he doesn't have max HP. But, nice pivot there. But yeah, with the Skarm burned, and he reveals that it's Drill Peck, meaning the... Yeah, it's Drill Peck, and so it can't check Arrow anymore. And Swampert is in the danger zone as well. I mean, he's gotten the max layers to wear down Behe's Swampert. That's the only Pokemon it still hits, but I don't know how important that really is. Yeah, the pressure under the timer is really going to take its toll. What's Behe's at? Have we seen? Behe's at around the 2-minute mark. The final question is, like, if he gets the spin off, can Behe still win? And it feels like he's definitely going for Psychic here because it KOs Arrow and Gengar, so does that make the move actually Zapdos? 10 seconds. 5. Oh, you gotta click, man. Okay, I think he clicked. Yeah, he did. So it's up to... We're waiting on Behe now. Whew. I mean, he must be confident. He's probably calcing that double edge. Can we get that calc in there in time? I don't want to miss it as it happens. Claydol utility. Yeah, double edge is... Well, if it is a... I guess he doesn't really have a better option. But if it's not a... I mean, I don't see this Claydol having a lot of physical defense. Simply because he's got Swampert and Skarmory and Dugtrio. This is not the kind of team that just cranks the... Yeah, he just stays in double edges. So he's... and as you see from the calc, as Zapdos gets 2 KO'd, not even getting a chance to Sleep Talk, as you see from the calc, it does 50 minimum to max HP Claydol. So he's just going for it. And then, I guess, if Arrow gets KO'd... or the spin goes off, then he's going to try and... I don't know what he can do, actually, to break through the Swampert Blissey combo, but he's making the read, like, hey, I can't afford to... Yeah, does he have any calcs he can go... Okay, it's Psychics, but the spikes still stay. Yeah, okay, no, I see. That was a great move, because... And as you see from the roll there, it would have lived even without that... Well, from that roll anyway. We don't know the exact EVs. But if it got that exact same roll, it would have lived even without the Zapdos sacked. But that was a good move on Behe's end because think of it like this. If Claydol spins, Arrow is still active spamming Double Edge. And that is still going to be a threat. And if Claydol Psychics, then the spikes are still active. So... Of course, that is still going to be kind of a problem here. Because the Blissey threatens to just kind of do it on its own. And that Wisp Miss earlier is really, really being felt right now. Because does he have any reason not to Ice Beam? No, he doesn't. Because he just soft boiled on Zapdos and Swampert alike. So what I think he has to do is sacrifice Swampert, then go to Zapdos and Toxic, and pull Toxic Protect shenanigans. I think. Oh, actually, someone in the chat just pointed out Skarmory's Drill Peck was doing a certain range, and he goes for the Ice Punch freeze, does not get it, and he's soft boiled. So that's the game. Yeah, he's just going for that freeze and not getting it as he soft boils again. I thought the second was a little. Yeah, alright, well that's it. That was an interesting one, for sure. But yeah, the Skarmory was doing a certain range to the Claydol with Drill Peck, so it could have been calced from that. Yeah, that was a really, really intriguing battle. Very clutch from McMeghan. I don't know, I think this was, if we go back and look at, the key moments, I think, after this from Focus Punch, like, you either limit that Swampert as much as possible, or you just stay in. I mean, imagine if he stayed in, because the T-Tar wound up going down pretty early. Imagine if you just stay in and EQ, and yeah, you take the Torrent Surf, whatever, and then Arrow is definitely cleaning up. So, and this, yeah, I can't stress that enough. It's, yeah. And then what happens, but it not quite being enough. Yeah. This stuff was good with the Swampert, but yeah, that Wisp Miss was really, really brutal, though. That's gonna sting. I wonder if Arrow. I mean, I know he wanted to keep the Blissey low, but I wonder if keeping Arrow at higher health would have been a difference maker. Oh, and speaking of, I think doubling to Skarm on which turn? I mean, I also have my opinions on this team, which, people always run, and then the Zapdos issue. But, yeah, the Zapdos issue, and I mean, honestly, even the Blissey issue. But, as you see here, because as aggressive as you think this team is, it's never going to be quite as aggressive as you need it to be. I guess, the T-Tar, but you gotta account for the Dugtrio here. That's the problem. Why, there's a lot of, like, teams with bulky Zapdos plus Dugtrio, and the opposing team, I think, like in that Asta versus Undisputed video I did, it's like entire teams are T-Tar plus 5 Pokemon blanked by Spinef Zapdos. So, you pair it with Spikes, not even Dugtrio, just Spikes, and it'll get outlasted. Anyway, yeah, I think Skarmory getting that second layer would have been big. So just, because here you're losing Pokemon to it more directly. Second layer, you could have even gotten the third. I mean, and if you don't get, that's if Swamp. Jesus Christ. Alright, my mic was just not cooperating at all. But yeah, I was just saying how, yeah, the Scar